looks like an old lady sitting there with white hair. I enjoyed every decade of my life. I really did. I've heard people act like they was going to die when they turned 40. It didn't bother me at all.
No.
50 didn't bother me, 60 didn't bother me, 70 didn't bother me,
Yeah.
80 didn't bother me, 90 hadn't yet.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was a special day or something.
No.
Took Groundhog Day today. That's
No, I
good.
just wanted to make a video asking you some questions, hopefully things that I haven't ever heard before, but I might ask things that I do know. Just have a list of questions.
Oh, okay. Shoot away.
Tell me one thing about each of your sisters that is most remarkable about them.
Well, I'm surprised Whitty's lived as long as she has, first off with her smoking
Yeah.
and her osteoporosis.
Yeah.
But she's had a rough life anyway. You know, she divorced her first husband, had 2 husbands to die. So that's bad. One's enough. Ethelyn's had, well, she had a real rough life. She's had a rough last year. She had surgery in August, major surgery. And 3 weeks later, he had his feet operated on, so she had to take care of Pete, and she took care of him. And they were having so much togetherness, she said, when his daughter was coming down, Jenny, do you care if I take off and go see Neva while you're down here this time? I got to get away from Pete. And Jeannie tells her she understands. I have a brother that I'm not sure where he is right now. The last time I talked to him on the phone, I said, Neil, where do you live now? He said, in an apartment in Arkansas. Well, that's a pretty big place. So I have no idea where he is. But we still try to get in touch with each other 2 or 3 times a year, but I can't go anywhere unless somebody takes me. Whitty can't go anywhere unless somebody takes her. So Ethelyn's the only one drivable right now.
I've heard about your mother, my great-grandmother, but I can't remember anything about my great-grandfather. So I just wondered if you had anything to say.
I don't know much about him either.
Okay.
I don't even remember very much about him. See, I was 8 when he died.
Okay.
He cut our hair, I know that, because we're like Buster Brown type thing, you know. Cut up in the back, bangs, a little bit over our ears. The one thing I remember about my daddy when he cut our hair, he'd say, hold your head over so I can clean your kitchen out back here in this thin spot.
I've heard that term before.
And that's one of the few things I remember about him. I remember one time we went to something at school, and of course came home in the dark, and I remember Daddy holding my hand, and we don't tell mothers. And I don't even remember getting home. We used to play a wind-up Victrola for him to go to sleep. And I had a little record he'd call, I'll be glad when you're gone, you rascal you, and that's all I remember of that. 8 years old, 2nd grade, I just don't really remember much about him. He had the mumps, Wade and I had the mumps, and he took them, and he wouldn't go to bed. He still was digging a well for our new house. We had just moved into it 2 weeks when he died, that he built. And I wondered lots of times, where did he get the money to buy that lumber? He was a carpenter. I mean, that's how he made a living, but I guess you could buy things cheaper back then. And we lived in that house until I graduated from high school, and day after Christmas we moved to Grayton. Became a city girl, but I'm a country girl at heart. Grew up in the country. And I used to ride the school bus to college at Kilgore. And the girls from Longview, every time they'd get off the bus, call me when you get home. And we didn't even have a telephone in our house, so that was so foreign to me.
Yeah.
And now it's, text me when you get home.
When did you get a phone the first time?
We had one at the store. My stepdad had a furniture store. Dixie thinks it's so strange I call my stepdad Mr. Coggins. That's how I met him, and that's what we always called him. Mm-hmm. Neil thought one time we didn't like his daddy because we called him Mr. Coggins. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the reason. But at 8 years old, Mother was, I was 12 when Mother married him. I couldn't say the word daddy for a long, long time, even just casually. Yeah. Just could not. So he wasn't going to be my daddy. Yeah. Ethelyn would have called him that because she was younger. She was about 4 when Mother married him. But he was good to us. He taught me to drive. I worked for him. Mm-hmm. Kept his little set of books. Mm-hmm. That's how I got started keeping books way back yonder. Mm-hmm. But he was good to us, and he never laid a hand on us. He didn't even talk to us very much. He might say, Neva, do what your mother said. Wida, do what your mother said. He was that part of her. I mean, he backed her up.
Yeah, well, that sounds good. What was the day that you met Papa? Like, what happened that day?
Met him in April. I was going to Kilgore College, and he had just got out of service, and he came over to visit the guy that drove our school bus, to school. And while we was going home, riding home that afternoon, I had bubble gum in my mouth, kept blowing bubbles, and he popped them in my face. And Charles Palmer said, Steak. They called him Steak. Mm-hmm. Steak, you ask Geneva, and I'll ask another old bag, and we'll go bowling tonight. Well, he asked me, and we went to the bowling alley, and it was so full, we went to a movie instead, and so helped me, I don't even remember the name of the movie we saw. Mm-hmm. But I met him in April, we married in December.
Wow. Did you feel like, wow, this guy is amazing, or did it grow on you after?
It just kind of grew on me, but see, Mother was deathly opposed to it. She didn't want me going with Charles. Never told me, ever, why, ever, ever. Mm-hmm. And I said, if I'd have been the typical person, I wouldn't have had anything more to do with my mother. But I got over it, and she did too. Call you. Well, he must have been saying something about you. If you don't leave me alone, I'm going to kick you. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Nobody kicks but Jacks. And I said, well, call me Jack. And he did.
Yep. I always remember him calling you Jack.
He did. Jack and Buster for all the kids.
Yeah. I remember him saying, do you want a knuckle sandwich?
Yeah.
Yep. What are some special memories you have about your children?
Well, I don't remember. I guess I had them so quickly. I don't remember a whole lot about each one of them. Because, well, we thought Wanda was the prettiest little girl that was ever born. Charles kept telling his grandma he was going to have a little Junior. And she said, that little Junior could be a little Susie. Not mine. She was. And then when she was real easy to train, potty train. All of mine were. Wendell came along, and he was a good little boy, and of course Rick was coming along behind him so quick. Before Wendell was a year old, he was potty trained, and we put a chair up under my bed. He crawled into bed at night, and I've got a little stool on the patio out there. When Rick had to get in the high chair, I bought that stool out there on the patio. And then Sharon came along, and she was pretty good. She was more mischievous than the others did. I've got a picture of her somewhere at my dresser, putting lipstick on her lips. Never had Wanda never did anything like that. And Wendell and Ricky, being as close as they are, they never were real close. They're so different. I think Rick went to the bottom of every septic tank that was dug in our neighborhood that we just moved to, and on the top of every roof that was built. And anytime there was a new neighbor, we didn't have any trouble meeting the neighbors because he greeted them first. And then when Kirk was born, then I had a problem with Sharon. 4 years difference. I've told people in church before. When my kids were growing up, they loved each other so much and played together so good. Then when they got to be teenagers, you'd think they hated each other until something happened. Like Rick's wreck that he had when he was senior in high school, or would have been. And then they stuck together when something tragic happens. And they're kind of that way today, I think. Of course, Wendell's kind of looking after Kirk now, and that makes me feel real good. Some of his training paid off somewhere down the line.
Yeah,
Ricky asked me one time, Granny, how come you had so many kids? And I said, Ricky, in my day, we learned that you got married, then you had children, and you gave the children that God gave to me. He gave me 5, 10 grand, 13 great-grand, and 14's on the way. Little Henry.
What was your first real job?
Okay, I told you I worked for my stepdad, and he paid me $12 a week in the summertime when I worked 6 days a week. And he was going to try to teach me how to manage my money. So he told me that he was going to raise my salary and I was going to buy my own lunch because he'd been buying my lunch. So after a few weeks of being on $15 a week, he told me, I got to reduce her salary and start buying her lunch. She's starving to death. I was stingy with my money. I saved that money.
Yeah.
And I have given a tithe of my money since the first dollar I ever made, and I continue to do that to this day. I think it's good. We didn't tithe one week when we went to church. Wendell was second grade, I think. They was playing down in the woods, and he stepped on a piece of glass, and I had to take him to the doctor. And at that time, with our limited salary, our tithe was $8 a week. Took him to the doctor to get him sewed up, and it cost me $8. Made a firm believer out of me. Need to give God money first. And the rest of it will be taken care of. And I guess I live by that thinking all the time. And then I went to work when I was 18, at W.P. Hurst Motor Company. I think that's strange. I was a white Hurst. I worked for Mr. Hurst, and I now live in Hurst. But they called me down for an interview and hired me on the spot. And I didn't even put my application in there. And while I was working one day, I opened the desk drawer, I guess rummaging through where somebody else had been working. And I found my application to First National Bank in Longview. And that's where they did their banking. And this guy at the bank told Mr. McClure when he found out he was looking for somebody, he said, well, we can't hire her right now, but we got an application for somebody we might like to hire. Went to see him, and he hired me on the spot. But I didn't apply for the job. And then, of course, after we moved up here, I didn't work for a long time. Well, I did too. I worked at Red River Arsenal in Texarkana, but I quit when Sharon was a baby.
And this is in your 20s?
Yes, 20s. And then I went to work up here after we moved here because we were making a house payment in Texarkana. Finally, our house sold. We didn't have to pay that, but our house payment was about twice what it was in Texarkana, so it felt like I needed to go to work. So I went to work for a Chevrolet place. I was taught Chevrolet bookkeeping and at Mr. Hurst's place. Did me a lot of good. He taught me a lot, as I was working. But I enjoyed working up to a point, and they sold it to a new dealer. And I had to train their business manager, who made 3 times what I did. And they wanted to cut my salary that Jim was paying me. And he said, go ahead and fire. You'll hire 2 to take her place. I understand they did, I don't know. But I enjoyed my job, but after they came in, I didn't want to work anymore, so I quit. I've never regretted it. Never missed that paycheck.
What were you doing when you were 36 years old?
When I was 36 year age, where I was working at the Ford place out in Grand Prairie at 36.
A lot of people say your 30s are your most fun time in life. Do you think that was your most fun, or what?
I had fun.
Decade?
I had fun with my kids when they were growing up. I really did. And we taught them all how to roller skate. Charles didn't skate, but we went kids and I went roller skating. I learned to ice skate when I was 40.
Wow. Yeah.
Out at Forum 303.
Yeah.
They had an ice skating rink out there. Yeah. We went in, another lady and I asked them, could we skate 30 minutes on one ticket?
Yeah.
Because we just had lunch hour. And they let us.
Oh, y'all go?
I used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go there before I went to work every day.
Back in the 60s or 70s?
Probably 70s. I can't remember the name of this lady. I think she still does it. She did it on TV at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, people still do it now.
But I think it's good for you. Teaches you good breathing. And the moves keep you limber. And I look at it on TV occasionally now and I think, I should be doing that. They've got chair ones.
Yeah.
But I had never signed up for one.
What have you done to get through difficult times in your life?
Same thing I usually do. I don't sit around and dwell on things. I've never been depressed in my life. I don't have enough time to do everything I want to do. I should have my knitting over here while I'm talking to you and get some knitting done. That's what I do when I watch TV. I knit sweaters for Guidepost Magazine. World Vision distributes them. I mailed 7 week before last. Keeps me busy.
So you just stay busy. So you
I
don't
do.
dwell on something.
I think people doing nothing is the worst thing that could happen. Yeah, I can't do a lot of things I want to do. I've been instructed not to climb anything, and I don't, but I sure want to. I got my cuckoo clock fixed last week. Now, Wendell bought it for me in '65. It's been a good one, but it was filthy dirty and it's getting kind of old. But he fixed it for me, and I'm glad to have him back up there because when he was gone, I missed him.
Some of your favorites, other than the Bible, what is your favorite book?
You know, a long time ago, I don't really have favorites. A lot of things. When I was in high school, I loved to read Pearl Buck stories on China. I still like to read missionary stories like I get Billy Graham stuff all the time. I read a bunch of stuff this morning that Samaritan's Purse is doing through the world. I can't go particularly. Never have really had a desire to go, but I love mission stories. Where they're helping people around the world. And to me, that's important.
What about your favorite color?
Favorite color's purple, and I don't have much of it, but I love it. I've got my purple earrings in right now.
What is your favorite song?
Don't know if I got one. I used to hum all the time. No. Sharon asked me one time, Mama, do you hum all the time? I said, yeah, and I did. I even hummed at work. I don't know whether I disturbed anybody or not, but I hummed. And I said, and kid, if you catch me not humming, you better watch out. And I quit humming at one time, and I don't know why. And I can't sing now because I try to sing with the TV program I watch on Sunday night. My voice just croaks. I like the old hymns. I learned to play What a Friend We Have in Jesus, the first thing I've ever played on the piano. And my stepdad's favorite was Old Rugged Cross. It's a good song, but In the Garden I like. I've never been a real movie fan. I've seen some good ones, I've seen some bad ones.
Yeah. What is your favorite vacation?
That trip we took to Alaska in 1996 for our 50th wedding anniversary. It wasn't an actual year. It was the year of our 50th, but it was in the summer. That's the last vacation we ever took. Kept that trailer and picked up Suburban for a long time. Should have sold it a long time before we did it. Just sat out there and deteriorated. But you can't change what's happened.
Yeah. What are some personal experiences that have especially touched your heart?
The year I went to 1980, I went to Fort Yates, North Dakota with a group of, they were going to send a different group of men to the church to work up, building a church up there. A different guy, different group every week. And I cooked for those guys for 5 weeks. I cooked breakfast, made a morning snack, lunch, evening snack, and supper for 5 weeks. but it was the most rewarding thing I ever did in my life. Loved it.
And what do you hope for your grandchildren or your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren?
Well, I just hoped all my children would get along well, and so far they have. Grandchildren, I feel for. Things are so different what it was when I was growing up. And I know we can't go backwards, but sometimes I wish we could. That's the way I am about the song services, I guess. I don't like these little ditties that we sing. I've told a lot of people, everybody knows that they've talked to me at all, they know how I feel about it. It's okay if you were out camping with kids for a religious thing, but for the worship service for the Lord, we need to sing songs that mean something. And they think this modern day stuff does. I don't. Of course, I'm set in my ways.
The last question is just my personal question. It's been 5 years, 6 years since Papa died. 6.
It'll be 6 in May.
And from the outside, it seems like you've just been able to keep on keeping on. And you told me one time that you had already felt independent in certain ways, taking care of him.
Oh, yeah, you have to.
And then, so since then, imagine you still miss him, but has life been totally different, or?
Yeah, it's different. I struggled with taking care of him first. See, when I was home, we didn't go to church for 11 years. I stayed home with him, which was different. But I missed my TV preachers when I went back to church, but I enjoyed the fellowship with other people. And I hear people talking about husbands have been dead 2 or 3 years, and they still grieve over them. I've never done that. You got to get over it. And I think that's when depression probably hits people sometimes. They won't leave it alone. Now, I've got a friend whose husband died last year. That this past year's been tough for her because she's had a lot of physical problems. But at least I've stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Reasonably.
Yeah.
Of course, I broke my hip
Yeah.
6 months after he died,
Yeah.
and had to take care of me.
Yeah. I think Brian said it first, and then I said, me too. I didn't want to see him at the very end.
He did not say one word after he went to hospice.
I didn't want to see him sad. The last time I saw him was at Christmas here, and he was happy, and he was making jokes. He wore that green shirt, and that's the last time I wanted to see him.
You know,
I wanted to have that
feel,
memory.
I feel kind of that way too.
Yeah.
I just don't dwell on things like that. I've got a young friend, Don Chapin. You remember him? Got me working with special ed.
I don't remember him, but I remember when he worked in.
Well, he died back during the summer, and some friends took me to his funeral, memorial service in Gun Barrel City. And his daughter put on Facebook not long ago. He was buried out at the National Cemetery. I went to see my daddy this morning. Her daddy's not there. I guess if it makes you feel better, okay. I'm not a cemetery visitor. I got mine done when I was 8 years old. And I don't put flowers on graves. I've never bought a flower for my mother or my daddy.
Is there anything that you still have on your so-called bucket list that you want to do before you turn 100?
No. I don't make plans ahead.
Yeah.
I've never really liked to plan certain dates for anything. Be glad when this party's over.